Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm talking dupe-de-dupe, but first I forgot to embed this image in my slides, so take a look at that, mistakes with Rsync. I've been at this for a while. Moving on. Oops. Here we go. We can make this bigger. Here we go. So Rsync and deduplicating backup softwares. I'm Gobborg. Some of you may know me as 76. You can know my legal name if I'm on your payroll. That was not supposed to happen. There we go. Okay, so we're going to talk about Rsync, Rsync HL or Rsync with hard links, Rsnapshot, and Borg backup. First, some questions for the audience. Just show of hands. Who backs up their hard drive at least weekly? Good job. Monthly. Okay, whenever you remember to do it. Yeah, it's fine. I'm also a culprit of this. Okay, who uses a deduplicating backup software, such as one of those, Rsync, Rsnapshot, or backup, when you do it? Okay, yeah, all right, same. Who's never heard of any of those 4 items? That's also fine. You're like, I'm telling you about them now. Okay, great. Okay, so deduplicating backup software, such as the command line interface programs, Rsync HL, Rsnapshot, Borg backup, etc., those are designed to recursively back up a directory. That means that it will go down the directory tree and back up everything from the root node that you specify. And then when you do another backup, you won't have duplicates. So duplicates being this file already exists. What do I do? Type error. Only the changed and the new files, or the deltas, are copied. Everything else that was already there remains the same, unchanged. The softwares I mentioned all achieve this a little differently from each other, and I will contrast them later. So deduplicating backup softwares can be used for doing backups on your local machine. That, a lot of us, do sometimes. Okay, but they are also common for remote host backups scheduled with cron. Has anyone heard of cron? Okay, that's all right. It's a bit more popular. Okay, personally, I always run my backups to an external hard drive connected to my local machine, which is how I got that. And I have another one too. Okay, so what if you want to reference old files before they were changed? That gets into the contrasting, and we will do that now. Let's start with some history. Rsync. Rsync does not deduplicate nor compress. It is the precursor to deduplicating backup softwares, and it was written in C. One of its criticisms is that its authors cheated by managing to write C really well. If you want to reference previous versions of files with Rsync, you will also need to make your backup directory a Git repository or some other type of, versioning repository, and commit changes to achieve the versioning. With Rsync, the changed old files are overwritten, and the unchanged files are ignored. So it will look like this. That is how it is faster with each time you run it. If you delete a file in a new version of the directory, the old backup file remains. Your backup directory will be a massive glob of all files, past and present. Actually, yes, that is correct. Okay, so another use case of Rsync is an alternative to recursive copy, or SCP, to copy large amounts of data from one host to another. I've seen this used when transferring files. Well, I've used this when transferring files from local to remote. And I've also seen package managers use Rsync to sync the package from the remote repository to your local machine, but this is not super common. The one time I've seen it used was when I was installing TechLive Full, and that is a massive amount of data. You can use Rsync with hard links, which is just that H flag there, to try to make things deduplicating. So hard links are a great way to deduplicate things in general. The hard link will point to where the file is stored on disk. Every file has a hard link. You can have multiple hard links pointing to the same spot, like multiple routes to the same location. But a limit to hard links is that you cannot link directories, only files. So it will look like this. You will still have a massive blob of files at the end. Our snapshot, which is an abbreviation for, whoa, okay, I will speed along. It's an abbreviation for remote snapshot. It is written in Perl, and it's based on Rsync. It extensively uses hard links for the duplicates instead of ignoring them. It's basically a set of scripts to make Rsync use hard links by default. Any duplicate files are hard linked back to the same inode, but unlike Rsync, it stores the changed file and keeps the original, so you don't need a Git repository if you want to keep the old versions. It's designed with incremental backups in mind. It's going to be very common to use our snapshot with cron. That's kind of what it's designed for. So when you use it with cron, it can be scheduled to delete old backups, leaving you with only the newest, however many you want. So you have the rsnapshot config file, and you can specify the levels of the directory that you want to back up. Perhaps you don't want to back up the entire root level of the directory regularly, because that will take a very long time. So maybe don't go all the way down, just stay up a few levels, and then you can choose how often to delete your older backups. The thing about Rsync and Rsnapshot is that they do not natively support encryption, but if you're running the program over SSH, such as if you're doing remote to local, then it's encrypted traffic. So you can make it encrypted, but it's not native. And so, but then your files at rest are not encrypted unless you have an encrypted drive, which brings us to Borg backup. Oops, Rsnapshot, it looks the exact same. Okay, so Borg backup. We'll go here. It's designed to replace Rsync, and it functions as an alternative to Rsnapshot. It's written in Python and incorporates its own repository format, so you don't also need to use Git. Subsequent backups are incredibly fast because it only stores the deltas. The initial backup is slow because literally everything is a delta. You're going from nothing and everything, and so it's all different. And it also offers different levels of encryption for your backups. Personally, I use Borg on my local machine. I was using Rsync before I knew about Borg, which is how I made a lot of mistakes. If I were doing regular backups from remote to remote, I would probably use Rsnapshot because it can be scheduled to cron job. And final takeaway, back up your stuff. Remember, a backup is only good if you can restore from it, because a busted backup is not a backup. Thank you very much.